Hello everybody, my name is Eddie Herrera. I'm the president of Publicize, and today I'm representing Social Geek, and we are here with Asparov Koev, who is going to be answering some questions about his company, Transmetrics.
Oh, thank you, Eddie, for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me to be here today.
Thank you, Asparov. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you guys got started and what you are actually doing right now?
How we started? Basically, my previous company was a consulting company, and I was working with Myers, DHL, and a few of the big transport companies. And then I realized that actually they consider when their trucks are filled on average to 60% of the capacity, they consider it a big achievement and quite good. And it was shocking to me being a programmer, where I think that 100% is good and less than 100% is not. So, and then I realized that in all modes of transport, actually the optimization of the activities is very low, and there is a lot of air which is being transported instead of shipments. And then I thought, okay, this is the good way to apply big data, predictive analytics, AI in order to get it fixed. And that's how Transmetrics started, about 5 years ago.
So you guys started around 5 years, and of course, artificial intelligence and big data did not become hot for a few more years. So what was happening at the time?
Around that time, actually, there were some applications of big data for, Obama had just won his last election based on big data, and there were some stories about how cops are being relocated within American cities to different neighborhoods, basically to track crime based on big data and so on. But these were really early sprouts. And within logistics, no one knew anything. Actually, that was one of the big difficulties we had in the beginning, that no one really believed that this is possible, that predicting demand is possible, that anything like that can be done. And now it's completely different. Now it's completely different. Now when we talk to the customers, they're trying to do it themselves, but it's super difficult, and we are years ahead, so which makes it obviously very easy for us. So I guess that's the point about any startup, to correctly predict what the demand is going to be some years from now and start building it before the demand is really there. So you're among the first, and we were just quite successful in doing that.
Oh, okay. And how did you translate that into the cargo industry? How did you make that link?
Well, the cargo industry has a very big predictive problem. They it's first of all a very business-to-business industry. So it consists of big cargo providers which work with big customers. And these big customers, they don't like to plan. They expect their suppliers to just execute what is given to them within a few hours. So we all go and order stuff on Amazon, and then Amazon hires transport companies to deliver it to us, like DHL and a few others. And they basically just give them a very short time to deliver the shipments. So they don't have any advanced knowledge about how many shipments are going to will need to be delivered on any given day until the very last minute. And there are huge swings. Basically, the comparison between what is transported over Christmas and what is transported in the middle of July could be 2 or 3 times, basically. In Christmas, basically, which day of Christmas it is also plays a big role, and so on. So it changes a lot, and it's not very easy to predict. But if you can predict it, you can actually do a better job than your competitors, and you can have your vehicles like planes and trucks and ships much more full. And because of that, have much higher profit as well. So it's a really big win.
So when trying to sell this to clients, how do you do that? Because I can understand how you explain the swing to them. That makes absolute sense. But how do you show through data, the increasing inefficiency, and how does the AI play in all of this?
So how it's very easy to justify, because you just measure how full the trucks were before, and then after the implementation, you show how full they are after. And when you show that there is a 10% increase in utilization rates, this is a very big thing for them. Basically, it's just now that we have some customers which are live and which have benefits, it's very powerful for everyone else, because if it works, basically the question is, does it work? But once it works, basically everyone wants to have it at the end of the day. Where does the AI comes in? It comes in at many places. The first obvious thing is the data quality. So logistics is a very interesting industry. It has a lot of data, it's really a big data environment. Big transporters are transporting like 10, 20 million shipments per day, 30 million shipments per day. And this is going on for years. So you have data sets with billions or tens of billions of records, but the quality of the data is not good enough. Very often they're missing weights, dimensions, and so on. And then we are using artificial intelligence in order to learn from the part of the data which is good, and then apply that to complete the part of the data which is not good. So we are in effect achieving a very meaningful increase in data quality through predictive algorithms and basically intelligent agents and so on. And then the other part where the AI comes into play is basically in forecasting. So how do you forecast actually? How do you determine which factors play a role in forecasting and which ones don't?
So I know you cannot share a lot of data, inside data, but you can give me some numbers. So if you can give me some numbers, how much have you been able to save for your clients?
So I can give you some numbers which are public actually. We have one implementation in DPD. DPD is a German company. It's one of the biggest parcel delivery companies in Europe. So when we implemented the software in Europe, they had a 72% capacity utilization of their trucks. Which means that 28% was empty on average. So we brought it up to 82%, so that was 10% more. Or it was 1/3 of the empty capacity was gone.
And how have you been able to move within the market? Have you built any partnerships? How has that?
So far we are going through direct connection to the customers. We have a very customer intimate model. So with our software is, what we found out is that transport companies don't they don't have the capacity to spend a ton of money up front. They don't like to have expensive projects, which you spend the money first and then you see if it works or not. So that's why we have a subscription model. It's software as a service. And we try to keep them for a long time so that it's actually profitable, because if they try it for 3 months and they give it up, then we actually lose money. And because of that, we are really want to build very strong relationships with our customers and make sure that they're super happy. And it starts from the sales process, which is also very personal. So we go and we find the right people in the company who are going to benefit not just basically the company as a whole, but their career will be better basically if this thing works, and we talk to them, which is typically the heads of operations or someone like that.
Okay, so it seems you have made some impact within the industry. You've built partnerships. You have a good number of clients. But how much do you think that people or companies in the freight industry actually know about what you guys are doing?
Oh, it's a huge industry. It's one of the biggest industries which exists. It's $3 trillion per year, which is the cargo transport. It consists of millions of companies. Most of them are small, but they're, let's say, about 20,000 companies, which are in the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue. And this is our market. Out of these tens of thousands of companies, we probably so far maybe 1 or 2% know about us. So most of them actually don't know that we exist. They don't know what we can do for them. So that's a very big challenge for a startup, really, to make sure that we can reach everyone. But also we don't need to reach everyone right now. Basically, we just try to work with the ones who are really interested right now, and they're the lucky ones because they get the benefits.
I guess then a follow-up question on this is, what do you think is your key differentiator as compared to your competition?
We are a product, so we are not a consultant. We have a product which actually is out of the box and it works, but also it's a product which is very specific and focused on cargo transporters. So it's already out of the box to be used in a cargo transporter. It's not something that you have to customize quite a lot, because you could go and buy SAS or Oracle or something like that and try to do predictive analytics yourself. But then you have to spend a ton of money and effort, and you need to have the right people and. While here you take something that you can start using, and in 1 or 2 months you get the benefits already.
So I guess I have a few more questions for you before we go. And the first one is, let's assume I'm a company that you're trying to work with. What can you tell me in specifics? Because I understand the efficiency part, but if you had to tell me what will happen if I sign up with you guys, what is it that's going to happen with my system in terms of like actual numbers, if you can tell me that.
If you're a normal large transporter, then you have in most of the cases 3 or 4% profit on your revenue. It can become 8 to 10%. So it can become 3 times bigger, without at the same time affecting negatively your customers. So you're doing exactly the same thing for your customers you were doing before. You don't do any worse service. At the same time, you're much more efficient with your costs, and you have 3 times more profit.
And I think the next question is more out of my own curiosity. I want to understand, how does the AI work into all of this? I mean, one would imagine that there's like a robot behind that's doing all of this information, gathering the data for you, but I'm pretty sure it's not as sexy as that. It's probably a server that gets the information, and then the information, I don't know, takes on an algorithm and something like that. So how does it actually work? What does it actually happen at Transmetrics to understand all of this data?
Yeah, it's a cloud product which runs on our own infrastructure. So it's not on Amazon or Microsoft or anything like that clouds. It's on our own cloud. It consists of a database, and it can store a lot of data. So it's modified so that it can hold more than a traditional database. It also has, let's say, a web interface which people use in order to do their optimization decisions. So typically it connects to the heart of the transporter business. They have something called the transport management system. And that is the system where they record all of their activities and where they track all of the shipments that they manage. And we connect to that system, we pull data from it. Then it is going into our predictive algorithms in order to train them, and then basically it produces predictions based on that.
So right now, that transportation measurement system, the one that you're measuring or mentioning, management system, so that's the one you have created, or is this something like it's an industry standard?
This is what our customers have, and it's very often not standard, so we connect to it. So our product is the counterpart to the transport management system.
Okay, so you kind of have something like a plugin, right, for the industry. So they have their system, and you have some sort of integration system. How easy is it to integrate it? How long would it take?
A few months of work. Let's say 1, 2 months, 3 months maximum, and then it works.
Okay,
The biggest challenge is not to integrate, but to improve the data quality, because the data which sits in the transport management system is quite often not the best, I can tell you that. It requires a lot. And this is where the AI comes in as well, how to make this, let's say, mediocre quality data into something which can actually be used for optimization.
All right. Obviously, that wasn't my last question, but I guess I have now a last question. So what's coming from Transmetrics, and how do you hope to improve the quality of the data? What are you specifically doing to improve the quality of the data that you're getting from your clients, and what's coming from Transmetrics?
Yeah, well, how do we improve the quality of the data? It's again a predictive process. So we are using, first of all, split it into good data and bad data. So we use the good data to train the prediction algorithm, and then we use it to complete the bad data. So typically what the bad data has missing values, missing volumes, missing weights, missing dimensions of shipments, missing checkpoints, and so on, and they can be predicted based on what the algorithm works with the good data. And what is coming from Transmetrics, now there are several different types of transport businesses. So right now the product is ready for, let's say, for freight forwarders, for parcel companies, for pallet companies. Now we are working on the second spin-off, which is for shipping companies, for container ships and for railroads. It is about asset management. And then we are working on a third spin-off, which is about warehouses and optimizing warehouse staffing. And then we have 4 or 5 more ideas about where it can be applied in different parts of the industry. And all of this will come in the next 2 to 3 years.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. So you're taking the whole big data thing and applying the same principles for, all of these things. Does this differ a lot from, going to these different things? Or do the principles stay the same?
The principles stay the same. It has to be changed somehow so that it's easy for them to use it. But we're talking a magnitude of months of work, not years of work, to create the different use cases. Okay. Once you have the platform, of course, which is a lot of work.
How many people are working with you right now? How many engineers do you have?
We have 22 people, and 7% of them are engineers.
Awesome. That's really good. Asprof, thank you so much for your time. I know you're super busy, and thank you so much for answering our questions. And hopefully we'll have a chance to talk to you again about all of this.
Thank you very much, Eddie, for the opportunity to talk here, and have a nice day.